Hey guys, welcome back. It's Josh with the Financial Advisor Car Guy. This week we're back on the Eclipse. We're starting to work on this thing. My daughter was just behind me a minute ago working on that hood. If you guys remember, the car came with a carbon fiber hood that somebody had spray painted black. And so today we decided, it's cold and it was actually just snowing. You can still see some moisture on the ground there. And that's actually why she went in the house, because it was snowing just a minute ago. But we did go ahead and pull the hood out and start sanding on it. I'm gonna also put together her wing. We have a spoiler for this car. We'll get that put together today. I don't know that we'll get it on the car, but you'll see it before the video is done. So let me go ahead and flip the camera and I'll show you the hood and how it's progressing. So as I mentioned, it was just snowing. There's some moisture on the ground, and actually there's still some flakes falling, as you're probably seeing in the camera. Here is the hood and the progress. So we did start to sand. We actually started along this side edge here. And as you can see, it's certainly not perfect. There's a lot of sanding left to do, but we have been trying to get some of the bigger chunks off. As the paint came off, I did notice a few things. I noticed this corner is kind of badly chipped. Again, that's still usable, but the real issue is right here in the middle of the hood. It's got a really nice crack in it. And so my honest guess is that's why somebody somewhere painted this thing at one point. So my daughter and I have been trying to figure out what to do. She would still rather have a cracked carbon fiber hood on the car. It looks like it's been repaired. I mean, it's smooth. I can't feel those cracks. So I don't know if somebody poured some resin over it, or I'm not sure exactly what happened. But anyway, that's that's the issue with the hood. And there may be more of that. I mean, there's still a lot of black to go. And so we do have kind of an idea of what to do, and I'll share that with you guys in a future episode. But you can also see kind of here, it's starting to dry. And so when it's wet, it looks great. But as it dries, let's see if I can speed that process along a little bit. Yeah, you can see it. Anyway, it dulls up quite a bit. And that's because we're using a sanding disc on the hood as opposed to the abrasive blaster that I bought. I did go ahead and bring the compressor out and use the little sand blaster. Again, I'm using like a walnut shell media, and it did nothing. I blasted on the hood for several minutes, used quite a bit of media, and all it did was put little scratches essentially in the finish. So I decided, you know what, screw it. Let's just sand. And here we are. So the sanding is actually working. You can see the weave. I mean, we were thrilled. Again, we started back over here. We were just thrilled when I first got through the black paint, and you could start to see some of the carbon weave. It was right in here. That was an exciting moment. And as we uncovered, again, this crack kind of sucks, but we've got a plan and we'll go from there. Other than that, the hood appears to be in okay shape. This little corner back here also has a little bit of a nick, but nothing that's gonna keep us from using the hood. So that's kind of the quick update there. Hang tight and we will talk about the spoiler. So a couple days have gone by since that last half of the video. And so here we are. It's actually dark outside, as you can see through those windows behind me. And there's snow on the ground. It's actually been snowing every day this week. When Emma was doing all that sanding and everything, it was Saturday. It is now Wednesday. So it's snowed the last 4 days. It's actively snowing right now. There's not a ton of snow on the ground. It's actually come and gone literally every day. We'll wake up in the morning and there's snow on the ground. It'll maybe melt off by noon or 1. And then by the time we're home from work and school, it's snowing again and snows through the evening. So we have not had an opportunity to get out there. But what we did do was what we could do inside the garage. So Emma did finish sanding the hood, at least for the most part, and we've made a decision there. So we're gonna talk about that here in a second. But I also promised you guys a picture or an image of the spoiler and where that's at. So I'm gonna turn the camera around and we're gonna look at both. The hood looks like a hot mess. We did basically scuff the entire thing up, and when it's wet, it mostly looks like a complete carbon fiber hood. You can still see there's some areas in here on both sides where I have to go back and hand sand, kind of around these vents. All need to be hand sanded, but all the major area of the hood has essentially been exposed. The black paint is off, so again, there's that crack. The only other real flaw that we found on this hood is right here. And I'm gonna see if I can get in there. There's another little crack right there, which, I mean, again, I think we're gonna be okay. But we have two options. And the first is finish sanding, polish, buff it, clear coat it with a nice shiny gloss. And then what I told Emma, because when this is wet and you can see the weave real clear, it's actually a little bit yellow. And that concerns her a little bit because the car is purple. And so what I told her is they sell a product. I mean, we can go buy a can of it at Walmart for like $9, but it's a spray tint. And it's what people use on their headlights and their taillights and, you know, all that stuff. So we could theoretically get this down to exposed carbon, get all these, you know, sanding swirls and marks and everything out, get all the black out and removed, and then essentially use a tint to clear it. And I mean, in theory, I think the tint would neutralize the yellowish color. It would keep it from further yellowing. And I honestly think it would kind of revitalize the color of the carbon. You know, part of the deal is she's comparing it to the fresh, clean carbon on my R8. And what she's failing to remember is that this hood could be as much as 20 years old. I mean, the car is from 1999. I have no idea how long this hood has been traveling with the car. But if you remember, I actually bought it from the brother of the original owner. So the car has stayed essentially within a small group of friends and the same family the entire life of the vehicle. So in theory, this hood could be as old as the car. You know, but you're probably looking at these two little holes down here. Those are the washer nozzles. I have a brand new pair of those to go on. And otherwise, again, just cleaning up the hood and getting it ready. If I pan down, here is her aluminum spoiler. Now, this spoiler came black. As you can see, it does have a carbon finish to it. It is not perfect, but we wrapped it. I did buy some carbon vinyl, and we went ahead and heated the vinyl. You can see kind of up over here, there's a little bit of a wrinkle. You know, for the most part, it went on pretty smooth, and the pattern looks beautiful. And again, it's kind of that dark, I'd almost call it like a black or a dark gray carbon. It's very realistic looking. I think if anybody, you know, if you touch it, you can feel that it's vinyl. It doesn't feel like resin or anything like that. But you can see how dark in color it is. And then you come up here and you can see, I mean, you can almost kind of see how yellow this carbon is. And again, that's going to be the difference between a real carbon and a wrap. But the other thing we were considering doing is, rather than, you know, tinting this carbon fiber to hopefully get it to look similar to this, I have enough vinyl. I could, in theory, wrap this thing and it would match the wing perfectly, which is really what she would prefer. My only major concern is we had a hard time wrapping the spoiler, and the spoiler doesn't even have any crazy contours like all this. So my concern is just gaps and air bubbles and wrinkles and creases, and there's a few of those already on the spoiler. Again, we tried to get them, you know, hidden in such a way that, you know, maybe you wouldn't notice it. Again, looking at it here, you probably don't notice much from a flaw standpoint. But the hood, that's a whole nother animal. It's a much larger surface. There's way more risk of, you know what I mean, seeing flaws, and that just concerns me. So I suppose if you're watching this and you're somewhat local and you know how to wrap, would like to donate or charge a very insignificant amount of money to help out my daughter, we could do an episode about it. I'd love to have you over. We can get this thing wrapped and installed, and you know, maybe you can give the channel some tips and tricks for those people that are out there ambitious enough to want to wrap anything on their vehicle. But going back down to the spoiler, this was an inexpensive eBay wing. I think it was $120 for, it's a 56-inch aluminum wing. You know, it's adjustable, so you can over here, you can kind of adjust the up and down of the both layers to the wing, the upper and the lower. It's kind of adjustable right in here. See, I can go down, or I can go up. I have it more or less where we want it. But again, this is purely aesthetic. She's not going to be racing this car. She doesn't need extra downforce or any of that stuff. So it's not a big deal. We're going to leave it as it sits. But those end caps here had some really generic racing type of logo on there. It was like M2 race, etc., or something like that on there. I don't know. So I went ahead and painted those black, just to kind of cover any sort of random logos. And she may put some decals or some sort of sticker on there. I don't know yet. We talked about painting it body color because I've got to repaint a couple pieces on the car. So I'm going to have the purple paint out. I could, in theory, paint those pieces purple, or we have extra vinyl and I can always, that's just a flat piece. I could probably wrap that and make it look pretty decent. So that's kind of plan B. But getting that wing installed, getting the hood installed is going to require a little bit warmer weather. I do have to drill some holes on the trunk lid, and I need to fill a couple holes from the old factory spoiler, and then I need to repaint. So I don't know how soon this wing is going to get installed, but at least it's together, it's wrapped. We have a kind of an idea of what it's going to look like, and it's coming together. And so that's sort of the update this week. Comment down below, let me know, is there something different you think I should be doing? Do you have any tips or tricks about wrapping things that maybe we could use to get this hood done? Or do you think I should just finish, sanding it out and tinting it, seeing what it looks like, and then if it still sucks, then wrap it? That's kind of the route I want to go, but my daughter's ready to just call it quits on sanding and just wrap it now. So I don't know, I kind of like to get your feedback. As always, like, share, but most importantly, remember, may every investment you make be a good one. Till next time.